Day, and thank you for joining this presentation entitled Collaboration Plan Presentation, prepared by Kathy Morrison. This presentation has been developed to satisfy the requirements of EDU 548, Curricular and Instructional Methods in Higher Education, under the instruction of Dr. Deborah Ranth. The content is divided into two segments. The first focuses on curriculum collaboration strategy, while the second, collaborative problem solving. This presentation focuses on the field of clinical laboratory science, an often overlooked career that plays a crucial role in the healthcare industry. I refer to it as a hidden jewel of healthcare because professionals in this department use a variety of techniques and methodologies to support physicians and clinicians in diagnosing a wide range of diseases for patients. Also, we will be focusing on the plan of retention of students and employees in the healthcare field. So what makes retention significant? The first one is because of the aging population. There are many experienced technologists that are leaving the career. And with these people, we are also losing so much experience because they have been in the field for so long that they know more of the old theories and newer theories that are coming in. The next reason is because of the fact that no one knows about this career availability, that many universities and colleges are no longer offering this career path. And because of this, we are having a decrease of qualified individuals. In some cases, the shortage is so bad that they are training people such as medical assistants, lab assistants, nurses' aides to do laboratory work as on-the-job training. But this is an issue because of the fact they are not qualified, because they do not understand the background and the necessity of thinking through a problem in the lab. That is known as critical thinking. Also, healthcare is on the rise because of the fact the higher population is in the older generations, and they need proper care. And it is crucial that we continue to have qualified personnel to test because it is imperative for the patients to have the proper diagnosis and treatments. This type of testing does require specialized training because of the clinical aspects that are involved in not only running and analyzing tests, but also understanding what is occurring and are able to help the physician through the test. There is an increase in job vacancies, but not enough qualified personnel to employ them. Next slide, we want to talk about the stakeholders. The stakeholders that are required for this type of compilation of people are as follows. We need the program administrators, such as the dean of the program or vice president of the school. They are important because they will be the driving force of whether a curriculum will be set in motion or not. They will be looking into funding aspects and also what type and how many faculty and or lab space will be required. We also need peer faculty, and that is the other instructors within the department itself. This is because they are instrumental in being able to impart the information from whatever curricula we decide to implement, and we all need each other's support. We will also need the clinical laboratory directors, managers, or educators to be involved. This is who the students will be going to go after they graduate to be gainfully employed. We do need their involvement so we can get some feedback from them from what they require and what they would like to have in every individual that comes through their lab. We also need to understand the time constraints and the training aspects that they will be providing to our students. We also need to get recent graduates to be part of the stakeholder group because they will be bridging that road from being a student to an employee. They will be able to tell us what they lacked or what was good about the program and how did they feel about the program and their career readiness. Also, we do need the area middle school and high school principals and or superintendents because they are the people we want to get involved and disseminate information about the program and what clinical laboratory scientists do to be able to allow these students to have other venues of participation in hospitals. To be able to implement our curriculum, we will need to follow some of the following strategies. One, we must provide education for the educators. Our faculty members will require the necessary education and understanding of how we can be inclusive in showing how to allow retainment of these students in the career. Two, we have to be able to disseminate career information within our program to show that the students that this can be a stepping stone to other venues such as a pathologist, a nurse, epidemiologist, or microbiologist. We want to let them know that there are other jobs that are available in case they want to continue up in their field. Three, we also want to showcase the lab. By this, I mean that we want to put flyers or brochures out within the community to let them know that we are here and what we do. Let everyone know that the hospital is not only about doctors, nurses, respiratory technologists, physical therapy, and or occupational therapy, but that we are also involved within the healthcare dynamics as clinical laboratory and scientists. 4, we must configure some type of laboratory that will actually allow the students to do hands-on experiments so that they can clearly see why we do the test and what it's for. The students must understand the theory and the background so that they can become better laboratorians. 5, we also must employ a class that shows administrative techniques such as budgeting, business law, planning, productivity, human resources, and staffing. 6, we also need to begin recruiting early. The university or college must go to middle schools and high schools to brag about our department and to showcase what we do, how we do it, and why we do it. We need to let them know that doctors do rely on us to help them to diagnose and treat patients. We are a service to them. 7, we must also partner up with our vendors, especially during lab week, to market clinical lab science to the community and surrounding areas. Now, some of the techniques that we must require so that we can make this project work will be by collaboration. There is a powerful tool known as Microsoft Teams that is incorporated within the Microsoft suite that is already in use at the majority of the universities and colleges. This technique, not only can you do real-time meetings online, but you can have instant messaging, breakout rooms into chat rooms. We can share screens from one another as we're working on projects together. We can file share, and we can schedule on our calendars what's left to do. The next tool that I would like to introduce is Padlet. This tool can be used for brainstorming, real-time interaction, and it can be incorporated into Teams. This board allows us as a team to brainstorm ideas, and we can do it all at once, and we will not be talking over anyone because we are all making suggestions at the same time period. And once that is done, we can go back and see prioritized goals. And also, because it is brainstorming and in real time, we will not forget what ideas we could be bringing to the table. Time on these projects would take at least 1 year to begin the implementation. We would have to incorporate the new curriculum into the graduate catalog, as well as seeing how to fulfill the requirements required by the state and the testing body, which in this case is the American Society of Clinical Pathologists, also known as ASCP. This is a long-term goal. We will not be able to see any type of real results right away. The reason is because the only way we can truly assess this project is to make sure to see how our graduates are doing in the workforce. We can send out newsletters, surveys, and even emails to our recent graduates and other graduates from our program that have been out longer to see how the program helped or hindered them in their employee engagement. Also, some of the outcomes that I would like to see come out of this project are as follows. More interest in the program, since we have been marketing and we have been targeting younger people in the middle school and high school so that we can have more interest within the community. We can have an effective communication between the community and the college or university. We want them to be involved because we are providing a service for the community and surrounding areas with qualified employees for either the hospital or clinics. We are also trying to promote retention of employees, not only in hospital or clinics that they are in, but also in the community. This process should be a dynamic project which can allow for any type of updates and or changes that may be required down the line. This will be a continuous effort because of the fact that our students are dynamic and we do want to provide a better service for them in their possible career path that they have chosen. This also helps the community because we can keep the employees within the area and they will provide more economic services to any businesses in the area. And this is my reference table, and thank you so much for listening to my presentation. Hello, my name is Kathy Morrison, and in this presentation, I am to demonstrate that just as 4 quarters make up a whole, strategic methods can integrate individual group members into a cohesive whole. The process of bringing together separate parts to form an effective group is essential for building community and collaboration. Today's modern society, especially after COVID, many young people have felt disconnected from each other and others. So in the classroom, we really want to integrate people, but they are feeling disengaged and lost. Many of them feel like there's not enough inclusivity in the classroom, and not only do they feel lost, but they also feel invisible. And because of this, students will become disengaged in the class and will not want to participate. They will not enjoy the class, and they are just going to be in there and realize that they don't even see a point in coming to class. This, in turn, will cause students to drop out either because they're disengaged or they're failing. This will cause an economic burden to them because they have paid their tuition for a class and they do not realize that they cannot get a reimbursement for the class until it's too late, and they did not know if they're going to be able to pay for the class again. So many will just drop out. This will cause an emotional cycle and a psychological barrier or burden on the student. These students are brand new students, probably away from their homes for the first time, and do not know how to quote unquote act as adults yet. Many of them do not know and realize that they can change classes, drop out of classes before a time period to be reimbursed. Also, many of them have never failed a class, and this is detrimental to the physical, mental health because now they see themselves as a failure. The stakeholders that will be involved in this project are as follows. Of course, we want students to be our number one priority, so we will be following them to see what they think, how they think, and maybe surveys and roundtables with students right now. We're also going to want to get counselors, such as financial counselors, pastoral services, career counselors, and psychological counselors. These individuals are at the forefront of how our students are actually feeling. So we can get a reading on what they're going through and what type of services they may require, not only from them, but also from the faculty and their classes. The administrators must also be involved because they are the ones that will be setting the curricular in place and will also be providing funding, class space, and faculty staffing. We will also need, of course, our faculty members. And it should include a diverse group of professors because diversity and inclusivity is not just in one class, but it is a part of every class that is offered within the university or college. Also, we should include our community leaders because many of them are part of groups that offer diversity and inclusivity, such as the pastoral staffing from different types of religions, including Catholicism, Muslims, Buddhists, and of course, Christianity. Also, our community leaders can lead by example, especially if they are foreign or minority-owned business owners and or women in positions of power. Some of the strategies that will be needing to be implemented are as follows, because adult learners are very different than children. We have to treat them as adults. For them, it must be a learner-centered education rather than a teacher-centered education. One theory is behaviorism. In this particular area, we can use this in the classroom by showing all the students how they interact with each other so they can see how their classmates act, communicate with each other, and begin to try and understand their differences. The next strategy is cognitive learning, and they learn mostly by symbolic stage rather than the inactive or iconic stage. They are having higher thoughts and they are making decisions from what they see, and they are not making rash decisions because they are actually thinking through the situation and making intellectual decisions and then acting upon those. The next one is constructionist. In this learning, the individual will actually actively come up with ideas by putting pieces of knowledge together, and this will require some kind of data input, whether it's visual, writing, speaking, and then they will also learn from their own perspective how to come up with an idea from what they've understood. And then we have the social learning, which is very similar to behaviorism. And then by the fact that they learn by observing other people and emotional attitudes and behaviors that they go through, especially from diverse groups. Then we have the experiential, which is actually a cyclic learning, which they experience, then they have a direct, distinct learning style. Because people can learn by visual, audio, tactile, or all three. They will reflect on what they've learned and then they will apply it to real life situations. These are all actually following Knowles andragogy theory. This theory is very much self-centered on the learner, where they will be more involved than what they want to do, what needs to be done, and why it's important to them. They will learn by experience, and they will continue to do it because they want to do it for whatever reason, promotion, learning, education, etc. Some of these strategies we can employ right away. Some of the ways of doing this is by implementing in-class exercises. For example, we could have group activities where the classes break down into groups, and this way they are interacting with each other, coming up with either a plan or solving a problem, or coming up with an idea or an explanation of what their assignment is. We can also have role playing within the class by doing interviews or assigning one person to be the interviewee and the other the introvert viewer. And they can practice this way. Or they can have other type of role playing, such as two individuals who do not agree on something and they actually reverse the roles. For example, there might be a person that is a Democrat and another person is a Republican. Well, instead of them discussing this with each other, the Democrat will look up the Republican views and the Republican will look up the Democratic views and research some of this, and then they will come together to discuss it. This way, both of them can see what the other actually looks at. In layman terms, walk a mile in someone else's shoes. Next one, you can also assign an assignment that incorporates worldviews, not just community or the country, which is the United States way of looking at things, such as looking at them, if you're a political science class, looking at their political system and how it works, or looking at their hierarchical system within their social classes, if it's a sociology or even an economics class. We can also do peer-to-peer mentoring because you might have older individuals in the class who can actually guide someone that is younger, and maybe this is their first experience in a university, so they can have a support within the class. We could also assign form films that relate to the class that they're in, and then they can write a summary and then discuss in the class and differences, and then there are different perspectives by cultures. They may ask classmates if applicable. In the first week of class, we could use Padlet just to break the ice, such as question is, what do you want the class to know about? For example, me, I'm a Dallas Star hockey fan. This way, the class can see more similarities than differences in each other, and everyone knows one thing about each other, so they are no longer invisible in the class. For project leaders, we will use the following collaboration tools. We can use Microsoft Teams Solutions, which offers real-time online meetings, real-time messenger, email, the use of Microsoft productivity products such as Excel, Word, and PowerPoint. You can also bring in links to play automatically and in real time instead of having to wait for them to constantly upload. And it's documents that by recording the meetings in case one of the project members cannot make it. They can see the recording after the fact. This allows for everyone to be able to be part of the team at all time, anytime. Also, the other one is Padlet because you could actually brainstorm on here and it can be incorporated into Teams. Another good communication tool is Trello. It is actually used as an active to-do list. You can get a set of cards and are assigned to individuals, and each person has a timeline that they need to do this. By then, once they have completed that, then they can move it into the next column that could be, say, waiting to be discussed. And then once it's been discussed, they can move it to either the completed list or move it back to the to-do list to do a completion or more lookup and more thorough research. The timeline to this particular project is as follows. We can do the actual initial steps can begin in the following semester, especially the in-class activities. The majority of these activities can be incorporated within the lesson plan, not necessarily in the graduate catalog, but within the plan of the class room so we can implement them right away, which is good because this will include our students to feel included from day one. The next one, it is a continuous process that will take about 3 to 5 years to be fully implemented because now we have to incorporate it within the entire class and or college, such as the science or English departments. And we also need to find out and assess if the actual initial steps are useful in being able to include our students. If not, then we go back to the beginning to brainstorm and trying to figure out what else needs to be done. This will always be a dynamic plan. It should never be static. There are always new ways to include your students within the classroom. And also we must include educational plans for our educators so they can continue to keep learning and keep providing a better learning experience for our students. Finally, we come to our outcomes. This is what we want to see as a positive momentum within the university. We want our students to be involved in their class, which it will increase. Then this leads to our student satisfaction surveys, which leads to a positive notion of our university, which then leads for a higher enrollment the next year. And once a student starts to be involved and feel included in our class, their mental, economic, social, and physical well-being will increase as well because they feel wanted and they want to be there. So their mental health increases, their economic status increases because they're not having to drop out and resign or buy more classes, etc. And also they can socialize outside of the classroom, but all over the place, and increase their physical well-being because now they're active with their friends, doing things not only in the classroom, but outside of the classroom as well. The community will thrive because now there's more people in the community to boost economic, and because we have been involved in community, in the diversity, these action groups, which might be ad hoc political programs, religious institutions, or social clubs outside of the university, but they will have more people to be included. All the stakeholders involved will see a positive outcome, such as pastoral and counseling staff may see less depressed students and students who actually want to help other students as well. Financial advisors can continue to help students get the help they need to stay in school and continue their education instead of trying to help them pay what debt they have because they cannot stay in school. And of course, besides the students being happy, faculty members are also happier because of the total engagements in their class, and they are now being positively fulfilled in their role as an instructor. And these are the references for this presentation. Thank you for your time in listening to my presentation. Goodbye.